welcome again to our Valley Grown. This is a program brought to you by our INCRadio satellite here at Central Valley, California. Of course, as always, I am not alone tonight. We have our beautiful, lovely ladies, my fellow co-hosts tonight. First, I would like to bring in the best produce from Bakersfield, Kaylin Bautista. Hi, Kaylin.
Hi, hello. I'm Caitlin Bautista. If you don't know already, thank you to everyone tuning in for our show, Valley Grown. If you didn't know, our episodes are every Friday night at 9 p.m. Pacific Daylight Time. That is every Friday, 9 at night Pacific Daylight Time. We have such a great discussion in store tonight, and we all cannot wait to hear everyone's stories. And even those tuning in, please sound off in the comments, share your stories in our Vine chat. So back to you, Melanie.
Thanks, Caitlin. And of course, we have the pillar of our INCRadio Central Valley, California. Let me call in Melvi Tamayo. Hi,
Hi,
Melvi.
everyone. Hello, listeners and viewers, and thanks for tuning in. Remember to like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. We have a great topic for you this evening, so don't go away. And by the way, since we are talking about telling stories, thank you so much for being a part of our Valley Grown story. Have a great evening, everyone, and we can't wait to see all of your comments and what you have to share. So thank you for being here with us. All right, back to you, Melanie.
Thanks, Melvi. Again, as our co-host mentioned, we are going to understand why we tell a story. If you really think back in your life, just think for a moment. Think of the stories you've heard. Maybe something funny, love story. They're just awesome stories that really help us, right? Because a story is a conversation across time. Why do we tell them? Because we want to remember. Other stories help us to heal, especially in the hard times. And other stories help us to belong, perhaps to change, to become a better version of ourselves. And when this happens, wouldn't it be great to just pass it along to those close and those we love? I would like to hear from you as well, our audiences, our viewers. We are truly grateful that you are here tuning in with us, and we would like to hear from you. So please put your buzz in the branches through our grapevine, and we would like to hear and share it as well. But of course, we have some very special people. These are the locals of Central Valley that makes us the best Central Valley satellite studio here. So I would like to introduce them one by one. Of course, as I introduce them, I want to also hear from them a short story of what makes them who they are. Okay, so for example, for myself, I always heard this story. Every time I don't finish my food, my mom would tell me, did you know that in the Philippines, there's a lot of children that are not eating? And then I'm like, trying to eat another bite. Even though you're like trying not to throw up. I'm just kidding. But then she also mentions during my time, I would go to school without any snacks and without any money. So from then on, I definitely value food. So tonight, I would like to first introduce our one of our panelists from Delano, California, Bill Dorsey. Hi, Bill.
Hi, everyone. How are you? Thank you for joining our show this evening. We're happy to be here and we're happy to have you with us. I'm going to start out with a very short story, and it's kind of titled What God Made Me. Because I was a non-member, I was not raised in the church. I came up in a pretty hard life back in Philadelphia. Both parents, they were separated, so I was always kind of tossed back and forth between two families, and it was really rough for me. But as I was growing up, there was always a voice in the back of my head that always said that this is not your life and that you're really a special person. And it always told me that. So I held on to that thought because of all the hardships and all the things that I was going through. I was very blessed to have my uncle, and I already told this story. He was in the military, and he was the one that actually saved my life. And he was an inspiration to me, and I joined the military. And once joining the military, I met a family there in Oxnard and invited me to Bible study. And I had always read the Bible and thought that I was kind of arrogant. I said, well, I know everything in the Bible, and you're not going to be able to tell me anything. And when I went to the first Bible study, I was very, very enlightened about the words I heard, because everything came out of the Bible, and I wasn't used to that. When I grew up, we went to church, they called it, but it was really church for non-members because there was no preaching of the words coming out of the Bible. And it was a lot of shouting and a lot of music, and I really didn't enjoy it. So actually growing up and then actually getting baptized in Oxnard, the one thing that really pushed me over to become a member of the church, and I do believe this in my heart, was the Holy Spirit. Because as I was going through the lessons, I was listening and learning. And then one particular worship service, I remember the hymn number 33, but I can't remember the title because it might have changed by now. But it started moment by moment. And when I heard that hymn, I started crying because I could really feel that God wanted me to be there. So, what I'm trying to say is, no matter what path you grow up on and wherever you go, it is true God calls his people, his chosen people. And sometimes you realize it differently because you're actually coming from outside the church. And it's really something that I told my kids and my family, that story, and hope they carried it with them so that they would understand that it's God is with us no matter where we are and who we are in this life. And to top it off, the family that actually brought me to the church, they end up getting divorced and separated. But my best friend, he actually remained. And he had passed away when I moved here to Delano. He had a heart attack. And I was part of the LOS. And we had a meeting in the locale of San Gabriel for LOS. And when I was there, there was a baptism. So he had 3 children that I knew that they were really small, and I helped take care of them. And after that baptism, and I was getting ready to go into my meeting, one of the girls that was baptized, she walked up to me and she held my hand and she looked at me and told me, "Aren't you my Uncle Bill?" And I looked at her and I says, who was this kid? Because they're already big. I hadn't seen them in a long time. And when she told me her name and her brothers came, they were all baptized. After all had went through, God chose them to be baptized, just like he chose me. And that's the story that I want to tell. God chooses us no matter what we go through.
I love that. Thank you so much for sharing, Bill. That is such a touching story. Just really being able to understand why we've been chosen, and at the same time being able to see even those who are close to us to be part of where we are today. Our next panel tonight, we want to also call on Norley Carlos from Visalia. Hi, Norley. Tell
Hi.
us a little short story about yourself.
Hi, everybody. Thank you so much for having me on the show again. Central Valley, California. It's good to be here again, and thank you for watching, everyone. With me, it's the same. I wasn't born in church. I was a Catholic. I read the Book of Mormon. I was a Jehovah's Witness. I've done all that stuff, but this is the true church. But one thing that rung in my head through this is just hearing the words from my mom always say, "Akararaka barok," always pray, son. That rings in my head, and I am thankful as well that I was chosen although I wasn't born in the church. And it's a great feeling to know that, hey, I can sleep and rest at night knowing that, hey, I am in the true faith, and this is it. This is the only treasure we have in life.
Thank you. That's awesome. I just love both of your stories. And before we continue, I would like to also introduce our fourth panelist for tonight's show. We have the power couple of Lemur, Ronnie Benedicto and Melissa Benedicto. Hi.
Hello,
Hi.
good evening,
Good evening.
good morning,
Thank
good
you
afternoon.
for joining us. And also tell us just a short story as far as, about yourselves.
So if you guys don't know us, she talks a lot and I don't. And that's how we get along.
Yes, I do all the talking. He does all the listening and
Her.
nodding. He does all that. So one story that I'd like to share tonight is just recently we had a special choir gathering in Dallas, Texas, and as a choir member for many years now, this was a once in a lifetime opportunity. And so it was nice to see a lot of brethren who we hadn't seen before in a long time, and being there definitely helped us renew our commitment as choir members. Yeah, definitely. And while we were there, we saw some choir members who we knew from the past, and one of them, Sister Alexis Malaka, she was a CWS choir member when she was in Lemoore. I am the choir leader for the children's worship service. And she was one of the choir members there. And when she saw me, she gave me a big hug, and we took pictures together, and she wanted to make sure that before she left, she wanted to let me know that I was one of the instruments of helping her become and stay in the CWS choir. So, you go into this office thinking, it's a God-given duty and it's what you inherently want to do, but you don't think you inspire. And then years later, you hear it from, they're adults now. So, yeah, that's my story.
Oh, I love that. Ronnie, do you have anything to add?
As far as my story, as some of you might know, we have 3 children. Our son is overseas. He's in college at this moment, but he goes to school in Rome, Italy. And one of the things that that we've learned through our time as parents, our son loved playing basketball, and he played basketball all throughout the 4 years of high school. And the thing that would always come up is like sometimes he would have games during worship service days, and particularly when it's closer to Thanksgiving or Holy Supper or whatnot. And he would always have to make the sacrifice. And, we were proud of him because of that. So as he graduated, another opportunity came up where it was an opportunity to play in Rome, Italy. So as parents, we're like excited, but also very scared because, again, that would mean that he would have to move to this foreign country, without us. And, that's kind of scary. But one thing that we did when we asked him to pray, to have a panata, to make sure that, that God shows him which school that he should go to. And, he did his part. He prayed and ended up in Rome. The first thing that we did there when we moved him there was to make sure that, he had his transfer, that he registered, and that he went to choir practice, because he's also a choir member throughout, his time as when he was in Lemoore. So one of the things is about my son is that he only speaks one language. He speaks English, right?
Sometimes it's just nothing.
Yeah, he's a little bit like me, but but one of the things that when we went there, he registered. The first thing he did is he went to choir practice. So for the first 3 worship services that we were there, He performed in English, he performed in Tagalog, and he performed in Italian. And like I said, that he only speaks English. So I mean, these were like, new experiences and whatnot. And that kind of as parents, that kind of like, brought some comfort to us. Like, he listened to us. The guidance that we gave him to make sure
More
that
like yelling, guidance.
no, she was yelling, I was guiding.
Yes, Bob.
But we made us realize that he was listening to what we were telling him about. This is what you want to do, but you have to make sure that you put God first, attend worship service, and most of all, perform your duties. And because of that, I mean, his schedule works out to where he can do all of this and still play basketball.
And by the way, WhatsApp allows us to yell through video calls too.
Technology.
Sponsored by them, though.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Love it.
But one of the other things too is that it's truly nice. The brethren in Italy are very welcoming. He hangs out with them.
Just like CVC, though.
Yeah, I mean it's almost like home where he goes, and everyone says hello. He also had to learn how. Here we drive. There he has to use public transportation, so he never drove. So he's having to talk to brethren, with aunties and uncles, and every now and then he'll text us, but he'll text us in Tagalog. I'm like, where'd that come from? Or he'll say ciao at the beginning or end of his sentence. And it's like, okay, so he's starting to, get used to the environment, but he continues to perform his duty. And that's probably the biggest thing that we are so happy about. In fact, this past weekend, he, growing up, aside from basketball, he also liked to rap. He was a rapper, but he also performed in the INC CFO Cares activity. So
that's awesome. I just love that, how you have been able to help him, and at the same time now you share his stories. I just love everyone's stories, and later on we're gonna probably dig a little bit deeper, right, Caitlin? With some of the stories you've shared, we will continue with that. But before we move on, I would like to hear also from our Vine chat. So Kuya Tech, please play the grapevine so that we can go on to the buzz of our branches.
All right. So we do have a lot of comments, and we love hearing from all of you. So we thank you so much for participating and for being with us again tonight. So first we have PJ and Hara from OCC watching from District Orange County, local of Anaheim. Thank you so much, PJ, for your support each week. Julia Whitman is also here with us, and she actually did post a comment. Let me just look for it. Oh, here it is. She said, "Our stories definitely shape who we are. Sharing our stories allows others to see our triumphs and our hardships, and allows us to try to understand why we act or behave the way we do." How beautiful is that? Totally. I can totally relate from this. Thank you, Julia, for your time. Romel Bautista is also here. Oh, Carolyn Shank. Hello, another host from NEC. Hello, Ate Care. She said, "Hello, everyone," greeting us. And also, Angelina Castillo. "Good evening, mga kapatid. District of Central California, local of Delano." He basically said hello to all the brethren. And Mario Oka, of course. He's always here each week. "Good day here in the Philippines, and enjoy watching. Greetings from the local of Brixtonville, District of Caloocan North." From our very own district minister, Ka Isaias, he said, "Congratulations to all our panelists. Thank you for sharing your inspiring stories." And we have a lot more from Delano, from our district, and also from Omel Eliston. He said, "Yes, Sister Melissa Benedicto, I can relate to Brother Bill. My first visit to the worship service, I felt the Spirit. The teaching is totally different to any other po." So there you go. We'll read more if we do have more time, but if not, we do watch the replay and we read all of your comments. We love you all and thank you. So back to you, Melanie, for our topic discussion.
Thank you again for all your comments. We truly love hearing from you. And now we're going to go back, and also we would like to have Caitlin take us away to continue our show. Back to you, Caitlin.
All right. Hi, everybody. I would like to ask Melissa about your story about reuniting with the choir member that you saw in Dallas. I'm pretty sure it was very impactful to hear their words. So if you don't mind me asking, what did you hear beneath her words saying that, oh, you guys are the reasons why I'm still in the choir or why I joined the choir? So how did that impacted you as a person?
Well, my first, like, what popped in my head was, no, God called you. God gave that to me. That God gave that gift. But it was also inspiring, to hear that you were one of the instruments in rearing and molding other kids inside the Church of Christ. And so it all the more inspired me to continue in my office, no matter how long I've been in it, just be more grounded and mature and continue to be an instrument.
Absolutely. How does that make you feel, like, as a parent, that, or to go to Brother Ronnie, how does it make you feel as a parent seeing that your son is now in Italy and still continues to perform his duties, and he still stands on those morals that you taught him?
It makes us feel proud. It's like Brother Bill, Brother Norman. I was also not born in the church, so I've seen a lot of things, and I've grown up, grew up in the Philippines or whatnot. You see a lot of good things and bad things, but because that you're able to instill these values in him, it just all the more inspires you to continue on. We have 3 kids in total, so we have 2 other kids that we also have to kind of do the same thing for. So it's very it allows you to sleep easy, knowing that he's doing well.
Absolutely. Yes. Thank you so much for sharing as a perspective of, like, mentors and parents. And then I would also like to acknowledge Norley and Bill. Just thank you so much for sharing your own stories of faith and how you continued and you were motivated to grow in your faith as well. That's why we tell stories, to inspire other brethren, inspire people who don't know much about the Church of Christ or trying to get to know us as well. It's a beautiful thing to share stories, and we just thank you all for being with us here tonight. Melanie, back to you.
Thanks, Caitlin. And of course, I want to go back with Bill. I know you told a story, what inspired you, what you felt. How do you foresee yourself as far as being able to share this with others?
Well, to share it with others, they can get to see 2 sides of life, because one side, especially if you're a non-member, you get to see how the people of the world really live and how it differs from how we in the church live. And you could see God's work in us and teaching us and showing us through the church administration how we can make it to salvation. The people of the world, they have their own way of doing things. And even when you're doing your missionary work, they want to hold on to those things that are not true. So it's really up to God to really touch them, no matter how much we invite them, how much we talk to them. And I really love to do missionary work. I don't know if you can understand that. And I do missionary work a lot. So I just want to inspire the brethren. Never give up doing missionary work, no matter what. We get rejected. It's sometimes you want to give up, but that's part of it. But find joy in it, because God's giving you that duty to try to save people and find his people.
I love that, because that's another story that we can definitely share. And then Norley, you mentioned earlier about you hearing what your mom mentioned to you to inspire you. You were talking about a certain event in your life. Can you just elaborate on that?
So, being first generation in America, it was a hard life. You go through trials, a lot of trials, of course. You start here very poor, and but just trying to overcome life and its hardships, but knowing that we're in the true church, through what I've learned at church. And again, I am so thankful I've experienced being attending the other churches. I started off in the Catholic Church, so I kind of knew their foundation of teachings, and then I attended Calvary Chapel for some time, and then I was a Jehovah's Witness in Palm Springs. And just those life lessons makes you solidify that this is the true church, because I can compare and contrast and say they are all wrong. This is the foundation that we have. And hearing this all the time when I was performing my duties through the hard times, when I was trying to figure out who I wanted to be in life, in the career that I wanted to be, I did automotive at COS. I went to school and got my degree in computers. I was a correctional officer, and then I ended up becoming a provider. But through those life lessons and trying to figure out what I wanted to be, one thing that stood out the most was someone telling me, I mean, of course, my mom, and I followed my wife, who is a provider as well, but you give your all, you give everything to God, meaning, because I would perform my duties all the time. I would perform my duties, and then I would go take a test. And even though I only put 25% of study time and gave all of it to God, I got my grades. And that, again, is a testament that I'd like to let the children know, the kids know, that you worship the true God. Ask for what you want to be. Give all your heart and might to your duties at church. That's what we live for, and everything will come in place. Everything that you are asking for will come to place, if that makes sense. But this is it. This is the life journey that we're gonna end in, and this is the true church.
I just love that we all have something in common. Our faith upholds us. It inspires us. It continues to help us to move forward. But most especially, it allows us to save and remember all these stories so that we can share them to those we love and care. And so I want to also know, if you want to tell this story, I just want you to finish this sentence. I tell this story so that. Who wants to be the first taker? Bill, you tell this story so that.
Tell the story so that people would know, the brethren would also know that in spite of all the hardships and all the things that we go through in life, God is there for us, no matter what happens. Don't give up. Continue to pray, because God is there for us.
Thank you. I love that. All right. Next, Norley, you tell your story so that.
I tell my story just for the new generation, the kids, to put your trust in God, and He will do everything else. Put your energy and exert your effort in your duties, and have God do everything else. Everything else, even in school, aspire to do what you can and be what you can. And always have God first. I tell my son and my daughter, Luke and Olivia, don't you ever put me or your mom first. You put God first, and everything will fall in place. That's the truth. That's what we learn. I always tell them, don't depend on me. Don't you ever depend on me. I'm so thankful that I'm able to provide for you, but that's because of the blessings that came from God. And you draw closer to him on a daily basis. So it will make me feel good when I'm nearing my end. So, just that there, knowing that, and for them to draw closer. For the kids from Central Valley, draw closer to God. If you guys are hearing, draw closer to God, guys.
I love that. Something for them to hold on to, right? We're not always there, but we know that God is there for all of us. All right, the power couple Benedictos, you tell your story so that.
I'm gonna go first. I think we tell our stories because it's important that other people know that it can be done. That you still can pursue whatever your dreams and aspirations are, and still be able to worship, perform your duties, and be dedicated at both.
Yes.
That it doesn't have to be one or the other. That you could, you could do both, and hopefully it allows other parents to okay, I've seen that it can be done, so give your child opportunity as well. And for children, it's hey, it's important. I mean, that's why we're here.
Yes. Melissa?
Uh, so I'm part of the multimedia team, and we share stories all the time. We interview people, we find out what their everything is, right? And recently I interviewed Sister Omel Elliston from Bakersfield. She's a recent convert. Hi, Sister Omel. And I wanna read her comment because I'm like, this is exactly it. She says, what is the sentence starter? Sister Omel, I tell this story because, and this is her answer.
Okay.
Sister Omel says, we can inspire others to join the Church of Christ. Because for her, it took her 5 years of debilitating disease, all kinds of hindrances for Sister Omel, but yet she was able to become a member of the Church of Christ. And when she tells the story, if you hear her tell her story, she'll tell you, it's a miracle I'm here.
Oh.
It's a miracle, and it's all our Almighty God. So, I tell, and I help share everybody else's story so that everybody knows that this is the true Church of Christ.
And we appreciate you. Oh, go ahead, Ronnie.
No, I was gonna say, I just remembered, we just had a choir again, but one of the people that were leading one of the programs, she always said when we met her, maybe 4 or 5 years, she always told us, let go and let God.
Yes, that's definitely it for sure. And I want to continue to hear your stories. Unfortunately, it is time for our closing. So Caitlin, take us away.
Again, we would like to say thank you to my fellow hosts, our panelists. Thank you so much for being with us this evening. Storytelling, it's more than sharing experiences. It's how we make sense of who we are. It shapes us who we are as individuals, as communities. And we've seen how personal stories are not only told, but they're lived. And it's how we guide our identity, strengthen our faith, and remind us of the power of reflection and renewal. So as we close, we are reminded that the church administration continuously inspires us to live with purpose. The church administration's love, guidance, and example remind us that transformation begins with faith and unity. And especially in this month, as we celebrate the birth of our beloved executive minister, Ka Eduardo V. Manalo, we give our utmost thanks to the entire church administration. None of this, INCRadio, Valley Grown, our growth, our stories, our gathering here today would be possible without them. We would like to thank our spiritual leaders, our INCRadio station manager, Brother Wally Tarai, our deputy executive minister, Brother Angelo Iranio V. Manalo, and of course, our executive minister, Brother Eduardo V. Manalo. We thank you all for tuning in. And remember, tell one true story to someone this week so your legacy and your impact will forever be remembered. We will see you again next week on Valley Ground, where conversations take root. Goodbye, everybody.
Bye. And oh, Jill, happy birthday.
Happy
Birthday to all
birthday.
the October birthday celebrants.
Yeah.
See you next week.
All right,
We
bye.
have a special guest next week. Thank you so much.